Okay, this is the infamous problem number 6 on 15.3. I had 3 students actually ask for the same problem, so this has got to be a tough problem. I think the hardest thing about it is that all the problems, the science test involves medians, and here we have a problem that doesn't have any median in it whatsoever. In fact, the hypothesis is about a proportion. So we are expecting 50% of the women to be gamers, but this sample of 100 women, or sorry, 100 people or 100 gamers found that only 12 were women. So now that's got us doubting whether that proportion is true or not. Okay, and in a left-tailed kind of way, we're thinking, oh, maybe the true proportion is less than it. So how does this relate to medians at all? Well, you think about a median being the point at which 50% of the data points are above and 50% of the data points are below. So in that scenario, when we take, if we're expecting a 50-50 proportion, just like if there was a median in the middle, we'd expect 50% of the people to be around women and 50% of the people to be men. Now, of course, in a sample that can vary a lot, right? But we would expect to get, groups of men and women that were closer to 50, right? This is 12 women and 88 men, which is quite a disparity and nowhere near 50-50. So that's really got us doubting this. And we can actually use the signs test, just counting all the women as being below and all the men as being above, right? It doesn't really matter which way you go. So here's how you do it with a signs test. First, you have to establish whether this is a large or small signs test, and it's large because we're talking about 100 people. That's over 25. And what hypothesis test are we using? It's left-tailed because we are thinking that the percentage of female gamers might be less than 50%. Okay. So here we're going to compute the test statistic, and forgive the scribbles. I used a number from a previous problem instead of this one. So I had to correct it without rewriting everything. But N is 100. That's the number of pluses and minuses. There's 100 men and women. And 88K is how many pluses there are, how many men there are. And here that's 100 minus the 12 women. That's 88. So now I go about substituting into the formula that the book gives me for K and N. I put in 88 for K and 100. And I work this down until I get negative 7.7. Okay. So here's the question, right? I'm interested in this area of 1% on the left side of the curve. And I don't know this critical value here. Is this test statistic to the left in the red, the most extreme 1% on the left side, or is it in not the least extreme on the left side areas? So now we just need to use StatCrunch to find the critical values, or we could also do it with a table. I calculated negative 2.33. I'll show you how to do that real quick. It's just using the normal curve calculator on StatCrunch. So I jumped that up and let me delete this. So you just want the standard normal curve, and you want to see for what value of the random variable would you have 1% or less than to the left side, right? This gives me to the left side. And this tells me the 1%. So this 1% area is delineated by, let's say, negative 2.34, 33 when we round it to 2 decimal places. The rounding is not that important here because you'll see our test statistic and critical value are nowhere near each other, right? Like the test statistics all the way out here at negative 7.7. It's way off the charts, and probably has a p-value of, I don't know, just a minuscule p-value, much less than 1%. Okay, so since negative 7.7 is less than negative 2.3, we say we are going to reject the null hypothesis. This is clearly evidence at a 1% significance that there are that the percentage of gamers, of female gamers, is not 50%. Okay. Oh, one thing I'm not sure I explained is why I got 7.7 in my formula and I changed it to negative 7.7. And that's just because I'm doing a left side test. So it's on the negative side of the normal curve. Okay. So I hope that helps. That's a real interesting problem. It kind of had me asking a lot of theoretical questions. Yeah, but that's another video.